Hello everyone, I'm going to play a bit of Magic the Gathering and we're gonna continue a draft, the premiere draft which I started yesterday. I drafted a fairly... well, it's been doing alright. I'll show you quickly what the deck looks like. It's an Orzhov deck, black and white, and what the deck does is it tries to have a good number of low curve creatures which all do something. Kitsunes, cruise vehicles very effectively. It can give them first strike or untap when the vehicle is attacking, so you still have a defender or your vehicle is harder to kill. Selfless Samurai, brilliant ability that it can save another creature, and the lifelink is very useful as well. Spirited Companion, it's an enchantment creature which can matter for some of our cards, and it draws you another card, so you have a blocker and something you can sacrifice or use in some other way. Infiltrator, fantastic. Flyers are very good in this format so far, and you can pump it in the late game. Gauntlet, another lifelinker that you can also equip on something. Basically, Virus Beetle can take out a card, which is also an artifact creature, and it's very good when your opponent only has 1-2 cards in hand. So don't play this early. Golden Tail Disciple, Lifelinkers, 3 toughness. Subduer can help you stay aggressive. Norika, we are playing quite a few enchantments, so it's very useful in this deck. We can get back Born to Drive, one of our 3 copies of Twisted Embrace, Befriending the Moths. If it gets removed, the creature gets killed. We can get back our Spirited Companion and draw another card of it, or we can get back our Golden Tail Disciple to get a lifelinker. Gravelighter is very nice. It can draw you a card or get rid of some kind of creature, especially good when the opponent has one big or very hard to remove creature. I've been trying out the Blade Blesser. This is my first time playing it. It hasn't been fantastic, but Menace is relevant surprisingly often. And Death Touch, well, we know Death Touch is just good. Befriending the Moths, again, this looks like a slow card, but if you have 1 or 2 creatures down, the pump and the flight on them can help you to keep getting in until you get to either your removal or make a big enough board that you can attack safely. Coming of the Restless Shadows is not amazing, but since there's a lot of removal in the format, and we're okay with trading off some of our smaller creatures at the beginning, it can be nice. It can buy you back something that you need at that point. It can get back a Norika because people like to remove it. It can get you back Virus Beetle, and you can make the opponent discard again. It can get you back your flyer, your card draw, your protection. And Naomi, every time I managed to play it, if I got to 5 mana, I usually got 1 or 2 tokens out of her, which is very nice. If you get 6/6 for 5 mana, it's great. If you get 8/8, it's been fantastic. Ninja Kunai has been very neat so far because it's also a card that matters for Naomi. It's an artifact. It's good to have on the board. Plus, you can threaten your opponent with it in various ways. Lethal Exploit, just run of the mill removal. Soul Reaper, brilliant card. Crew 2 isn't as easy to get as you would think because some of our creatures are actually 1 power. But we have plenty of 2 power, 3 power creatures, so we can trigger it usually. And once you have 1 or 2 trigger counters on it and it has menace, it's very hard to deal with it for the opponent. Reconnoiter's Bargain, I like it in most of my decks which play black in this format because there's plenty of removal, plenty of combat tricks. Combat tricks are very good in this format, and Reconnoiter's Bargain can basically blow out your opponent. They waste removal, you sacrifice a creature, and you draw 2. Of course, 2 of your cards went to the grave, you got 2, but you're on 0, your opponent wasted 1 card, and you have fresh cards. You would have lost that creature anyway, right? High Speed Hoover Bike, again, flyers are just good, and you can play the tap ability sometimes to get in for more damage, Born to Drive, you can use it as a pump or you can create the pilots. They can act very well as blockers as well. And Dragonfly suit is very, very neat. Can get in very efficiently, crew 1. Twisted Embrace, a beautiful card. I mean, I don't even need to wait any words on it. It's just very, very good. It pumps your creature and removes something straight up. It's super strong. Right, so this is what we have, and we have one of the channel lands. So far we are 3-0, and we're going to play a couple of games and see where we can get. I uploaded some of my previous drafts, and I think so far we had a 7-2 Orzhov run. That was the first run in this format. Then there was a 3-3 Rakdos run where I was doing actually alright, but I made the funniest punt of my life, where I thought that I mixed up basically the close the game button and the concede button, which is quite funny. And then, so meanwhile, I'm just sorting out some laundry, folding it. And there was a very, very weak, I think 2-3 or 3-3 Izzet run. Izzet just didn't work out, even though I had plenty of nice artifacts, card draw, and the blue-red Artificer, which makes all your artifacts cheaper. It just seemed that making artifacts cheaper didn't matter that much, since most artifacts were actually quite cheap anyway. So it would be nice to draw a card with Spirited Companion on curve, but of course we will need to remove the Generous Visitor, and so we're going to use Lethal Exploit. And I need to check, this is when you cast the enchantment, so the enchantment doesn't even have to resolve, so we need to remove this little beauty right now before it grows out of range and we have to waste a Twisted Embrace on it. But my opponent looks like they're playing green-black with some enchantment synergies. Green-black just seems to be very impressive so far. Every time I've played against it, those were some of my closest games, and they have a fair bit of life gain. They have a lot of recursion. They have a lot of efficient creatures. We're gonna try to play on curve here, and if we live the dream, we draw black mana, we can pump the Disciple and destroy a creature. We might not live the dream, but we'll see how things go. Oh, dual lands. Dual lands are fairly... I don't see them often. Wow. That's quite a blowout. My opponent is doing very, very well. And we have the removal, but we can't cast it. What a shame. Well, we will bring our companion and draw a card just to see a bit more cards. And bring the Ace, which can block the Bearer of Memory, unless they start pumping it. So they can't. That's 6 mana. It's really expensive. But it's still... I do find that most games tend to go somewhere between 5 to 9 turns. Jukai Preserver enters the battlefield. Put a +1/+1 counter on target creature you control. Wow. So what do we want to remove here? I think we are going to remove Toshiro. Toshiro is probably going to pick Kitsune Ace. In the next turn we can... What do we want to remove? Probably we want to remove the Bearer of Memory. That's what can actually keep pumping. Yep. No attacks. Doggo might become a 3-3. It's not ideal though. We have an Uncharted Haven. Looks a little bit like Mount Fuji, but the top of the mountain is... it's quite similar. But of course, in reality, there's only one Fuji. There's no other Fuji next to it. Okay, we have a Kami of Terrible Secrets. That's good, they didn't draw you. They also need an artifact to get a card off this. Naomi would be wonderful next turn after we bring out Ninja's Kunai. So we probably do Twisted Embrace Doggo again, shoot the Kami of Terrible Secrets, and bring the Ninja's Kunai, and sit back. How did we lose this much life? We are on 6 life, people. How did this happen? Wow, my opponent's creatures just hit very, very hard. And is there anything that can give my opponent +3/+3? I'm very worried that they can somehow kill me if I let them through. But if I trade, I don't have an enchantment on board. Well, yeah, they did have... shush. Man, that's sad. I would have gotten a samurai out of this. Oh well. Whatever. So hopefully they can't attack through Naomi. I should have just let them get in, get the samurai. And I would be in a much better position with 2 more creatures on board. Well, only on 3 life, but still. Gosh, what do they have? I bet they have something nasty. Kami of Restless Shadows. So that can get them something back on top. They don't use the ability. Wow, that's strange. I would say that's very strange. Do we have a ninja or rogue? We don't have ninjas or rogues. But we do have a lifelinker, right? Yeah, I think we have to go with the lifelinker here. Or with the draw card, which is better. We haven't drawn many lands so far, so... I think it's very likely that the Spirited Companion will just hit a land, and then I would rather have the extra health. It can actually matter, and this is also an enchantment creature. Yep, I'll just go with this. And we are not attacking with Naomi because I can double block profitably, and we can use the Ninja's Kunai on their turn, and that's fine. I wonder what they drew. They're sitting there and thinking for a long time, so they didn't draw a land, they drew... Looks like they drew removal or a combat trick. And they're a little bit worried about Naomi's activation, Naomi throwing the kunai. Look at Naomi standing on top of this building. The samurai are gathering around her. Tales of Master Sashiro is going to give something +1/+1 counter. So now we blow out the Jukai Preserver before it gets the counter, but we are in deep trouble because this is going to transform into a 5/5 haste vigilance creature, and we're only going to have an enchantment creature. We're not going to have an artifact. So when I attack with Naomi, it won't make a token. Okay, I think we're going to just attack for the moment. We have to get aggressive and start pushing my opponent, because otherwise I'm just gonna die here very soon. I'm just gonna die a miserable death. And that's interesting, right? Because we can pump the Infiltrator, or we can reconfigure something with the Gauntlet. The problem with the Gauntlet is that it only gives lifelink. It doesn't give it doesn't give. It's an artifact. It is. So if Naomi goes in, it does make a token. Because I have an enchantment and I have. And then we trade with the Kami, which is not ideal, but at some point they can block Naomi anyway. And I can still block their 5/5, right? Yes. I think that is okay. And next turn we can pump our Infiltrator and we can actually raise their the Living Legacy. The Living Legacy is a fantastic card. I mean, I when I first saw this, I was like, this is slow, this is cumbersome, this is horrible. And now, like, it's just amazing. Should I block with all three here? Maybe. So this way, even if they have some kind of combat trick, I can probably kill the Living Legacy. Unless they have Tamio's Safekeeping and give it indestructible. Oh wow, that was a bad trade, I think. That was a bad trade. I just have so much more power than them on board. Oh, okay. Now that was a good deal. I have to admit, that was a nice deal for them. And I wonder what they got. Each opponent sacrifices a creature unless they discard a card. Now, obviously, this is going to be... So next turn we can discard the Swamp, and they are gonna get... Wow, they're gonna get Animus. Well, we're going to pump the Infiltrator and go in. Gain a bit of life. Deal a bit of damage. We're going to discard our Swamp. That's perfectly fine. We have another Swamp to discard. And we're going to pump the Infiltrator again. Send it in. I think we're just going to play the Swamp. At some point, well, if we get another land, we can double pump the Infiltrator and raise the Animus. At the moment, we can't do that. Assassin's Ink. Wow, unconditional removal. My opponent is drawing well too. Okay, we have the Soul Ripper. And the Soul Ripper is very good. The problem is that it works really well when we can give it Menace. Which we cannot do at the moment. I mean, I can trade here. Should I wait one turn? It's so risky though. I still have 9 lands in our deck, more than almost half our deck. I mean, if they have to use a... Oh wow, that came a bit late. I didn't do this very well, no? No, and both of these have Menace. That's not brilliant. Okay, we can have the pilots. We can crew this Soul Repair. We can reconfigure this Soul Repair. And we can give it Menace. And so it has 5 and lifelink. And so even if my opponent hits me for 9, I still live. Or 10. Yeah. And if I go in again, please attack out with 2 creatures. If I go in again, I live. I have to trade 2. But I can't block that, so it has menace, as I learned from the previous exchange. We have the Selfless Samurai. Wow, such a lucky throw. Okay, so we're going to definitely activate the Soul Reaper. We're going to attach the Gauntlet to it. And we're going to send it in. And we're going to sack that creature. So it's 6/5. And we're going to give it Indestructible. And so it kills both of those, and it gains me 6 life. So I'm out of range for the animals again. It's a strange race, right? It's a strange race. But I had to use up my pilots. There was nothing I could do about that. My opponent is very confident, so they must have either removal or blockers. They didn't play anything, so it must be a blocker. Oh, we won. Good grief, that was exciting. That was a little bit too exciting for my poor little heart. Wow. But lucky. What a card. Soul Reaper is a fantastic card. It's absolutely fantastic card. Oh my god, I just love playing with Soul Reaper. Naomi as well. Naomi creates, even if she only creates 1 token, you get a very, very good deal, right? 2 bodies, 6/6 across 2 bodies. And 6/6 across 2 bodies, it doesn't sound that good because a 6/6 is harder to block than a 4/4 and a 2/2. But most of the time with this deck, what we want to do is to remove the opponent's blockers or have a vehicle we can crew or something cheeky, something tricky. Of course, if the board state is stalled, then it doesn't do much. But this is beautiful, and Eiganjo has been wonderful as well. It's just a very, very good card. Right. Huh. Okay. Well, let's see what my opponent is up to with the blue card. Blue-black, Dimir flyers and artifacts. Flying artifacts. Right. What is the correct play here? I'm not familiar. Right. We're definitely going to try and get to Twisted Embrace level. So this is a bit tricky because I wouldn't want to sacrifice anything here. I might want to play the Gauntlet and equip the Kunai to it and just pass the turn for the moment. Next turn we can remove one of the flyers and start hitting with it. I would like to keep Eiganjo as a spell, to be honest. It's much better to remove remove a bigger attacker. Oh, my opponent played their channel land. Wow. Haha. Ah, not nice. My opponent is not a nice person. Sad. I am very sad. Quite shocked and appalled. I mean, we can do. Wait a minute. We can do a bunch of things, right? What is this going to turn into? It's going to be a 3/3 flyer. That's very annoying. We might want to keep the kunai for that, actually. I think that's, yeah, I think it's nice. Let's just kill one of these. Yeah, keep up a blocker. They can't attack through. Oh, no. That's so stupid. I gave that. Oh my god. I should have taken out the familiar, of course. Oh, that's an artifact as well. Wow, wow. Okay, so inventive iteration is pretty good. That's what we learned. That's what I learned. And so I have an enchantment, and I also have an artifact, so I might as well just go in here. They can't attack on the ground, but they can keep attacking me in the air. I wonder what my opponent is up to. Wow, they have good lands. Tamiyo's completion, how annoying. But I can sacrifice it to... Yeah, that's good. I can sacrifice that now to... Yeah, I think we will want to make my opponent discard their last card, which is brilliant. A bit of recursion eliminated. And we make them sack something, and we sack Naomi. Yeah. Right. We could bring Eiganjo and equip the kunai. And then next turn we deal with the living breakthrough very easily. Might go for double block here. Is that good though? I mean, I can take more damage. Oh, that's going to bounce. No. Oh no. Wow. Opponent's deck is doing what it's meant to do, really. Well, we're definitely going to equip it there and bring back the... maybe bring the companion, and then maybe we can get a land. And if we get a land, we can bring the gauntlet. Or the infiltrator. We'll bring the gauntlet, and next turn we will try to... I mean, actually I might remove the living breakthrough. What? To any target. Okay. Yeah. We want to get rid of that. What else does our opponent have? They don't seem to have much. Maybe we can equip the gauntlet and just try and go in the air. Right? Which puts us in a position to raise, basically. If they have the discard too, I'm ruined. But if they don't, then I can use the Kami. Ah, that's strong. That is pretty strong. I can use the Kami. Yeah. I think I'm just gonna use the Kami to get back Naomi. Naomi is just a lot of value. Yeah, I'm gonna get again. I'm gonna get again a samurai out of Naomi, and if things stay the way they are for 1-2 turns, I can even get a second samurai out of her when she's attacking. This is looking beautiful at the moment. To be honest, I had the same problem with blue as what my opponent seems to be having. The creatures have a lot of very, very useful and cool abilities, but it's just very hard to get through with them because their stats are just a little bit too low. Like around the mid game, you start to get to these board states where um, you will have, or your opponent will have enough things going on. Yeah, if you lose Naomi, that's okay. We survive. Is that 3, right? So we can do 4 damage. Yep, we're going to target that. We're going to pay the ward 3, and we're going to kill it. We get in. Our life has been buffed, and we got our samurai. So look, Naomi came back. She killed the crab, and she left us still with 2 twos. I think that's just brilliant. Yeah, it's just amazing. The value is fantastic on it. Oh, okay, they can loot. Looting is very good. I think they have a land, right? So they're gonna discover the land then. That's another Toad Rider. What does this do? Oh wow, my opponent is doing well. Look at that. Look at them go. Sure. So let's read the Toad. It's the first time I see it. So the Toad Rider, whenever you cast an enchantment spell, if you don't control a creature named Kami, create Kami, a legendary 3/3 black and green for a creature token, which whenever you cast an enchantment spell, each opponent is 1 life, and you gain 1 life. And for 1 and green or blue, Tatsunari Toad Rider and target frog you control can be blocked this turn except by creatures who fly or reach. Oh, that's pretty cool. So this can become unblockable, and it can create another 3/3 island. That's a very, very, very efficient card. Very, very, very efficient card. So I think here we're just going to sack our Beetle and try and draw a couple of new cards. Okay, that's pretty good. We drew everything we wanted. We really did, because we can cast this here and kill the Toad, and we can cast the Worm to drive on the Grave Lighter, which is going to be very big and lifelinking. And we just go in with everything. Yeah. We just go in with everything here. And we even have a blocker for the Moon Circuit Hacker. Okay, I mean, good game. I think my opponent's deck was very nice. I tried some similar things in my blue-red deck. You can watch that on my YouTube channel, The Magic Mountaineer. But the problem was exactly what I think my opponent's problem was here, that it's spinning the wheels too much. It just isn't getting there. And it just isn't doing the thing. There's no action happening really. I mean, 1/1s, 2/2s that tap and bounce, they sound very good, but you would need to couple it up maybe with green. I think going blue-green or blue-green is not intuitive, but maybe green has the big bodies that could benefit or be complemented well with the passivation and bounce effects and card draw of blue. So blue could ensure that green always gets green always has enough creatures and maybe a couple of fight spells, or it can put some counters on creatures or something similar, get some enchantment synergy going, and then the small blue flyers or small blue combat trick creatures complement that decently. We're not keeping this. Casting one virus beetle is not great. It's just not a very tempting prospect. Both my opponents were quite slow, and okay, that's a much better hand. Yeah, we can just say bye to Kami for the moment. We don't have any shuffle effects, I think, so that's definitely going to be our bottom card for the game, which is very sad. It's a good card, but nothing I can do about it. Oh, Arena just froze. Wow, this never happened before. Okay, so I think I need a restart for my Arena. It died. It just died. Yeah, well, that happens. We restarted. That was a bit unfortunate. But it does happen. Arena is a very poorly written program. Its graphics and design interface are very simple. I mean, they're at the level of better developed Flash games. We have seen this kind of looks and feels 6, 7 years ago on websites like Congregate, which is all those Flash games. Oh, I lost a turn because of this. That's fantastic. And you could see, I don't know whether it showed, I did my task, I opened my task manager. Basically, Arena ate up all the memory, and it does this regularly. Okay, I think we're gonna get rid of the door here. Yeah, my opponent doesn't have any modified creatures yet. But they're on Naya and they have perfect mana. Wow, that's a bit scary. And we drew 6 lands. Again, this is something that only happens in Arena ever. Very strange. I think we're just gonna go with the Spirited Companion. It can block the Aki Ember Keeper, and we keep drawing lands, 7 lands out of 11 cards. So 4 playbots. Luckily, Eigenjo is one of our lands, so if my opponent plays a bigger creature, we might have a chance to block that. And they seem to have gotten stuck on 3 lands, which would be brilliant. Okay. If this is how the game is gonna go, we might be okay. Should I attack with Togo? No, because they can swing back for 7. They're not going to block, right? I mean, I might blow them out with 2 pilots if they attack into my board with the Ember Keepers. I think that's the best try. Maybe I should have... It would have been more efficient, though, to just bring the Subduer and try and build up my board. Oh no, the hospital. I think I messed up. Oh no, they're going to be able to attack with the 2 bigger creatures, and they're not going to attack with the 3rd one. Yeah. Well, anyway, we're just going to channel this. And block that creature, but I think in this case they might get 2 tokens. Oh no, oh my god, this is horrible. This is disastrous. Okay, so we do this, and then we don't want this big synergy with the modified creatures and the invigorating hot spring. That was very clever of my opponent. I didn't expect this to come together. Yesterday I had an opponent, I played an opponent who had 2 invigorating hot springs. Or maybe that was 2 days ago. Anyway, of course I lost that game. I mean, it was just very, very strong. Non-stop invigorating hot springs. Wow, I'm on the brink of death, and I don't think I'm coming back. I think I... Ah, what a shame. Oh well, not much you can do. Not much I can do about this. Yeah, we'll just probably try and take something with me and take out as many of my opponent's creatures as I can. Oh man, but I have to trade now, and I won't have anything to put the Twisted Embrace on. So, yep. On 3 lands. Well, but this is interesting about Magic, right? You can be on 3 lands. If you only draw gas, it can work. I mean, everything my opponent played was 1 or 2 mana, and yeah, it just came together for them. But this is our first loss anyway. We are still 5-1, so okay, we can live with that. But never a nice feeling to be blown out like this, right? Draw 7 or 7 lands, and I drew removal, but yeah, it was a mistake to let my opponent make so many tokens, of course, but the situation wouldn't have gotten any better from that point on. Once they had the hot spring in game, this was pretty much decided. Wow. I wonder if anyone watching has played against Invigorating Hot Spring. What did you think about it? It looks pretty good. I think if you get the good green beaters and a little bit of removal in red, it can be very potent. Right, we're gonna use Haven as a black source and try and curve into Norika and the mods. Lethal Exploit and Reconner Bargain. Lethal Exploit can win us a little time, and the bargain can help us to refuel if we get some other creatures later on in the game. Okay, not much going on yet. Luckily, my opponent seems to be quite slow as well. Okay, spinning the wheels. But I have to admit, the Modern Age is a very, very good card. It is just so much better than it looks. It's a 2/3 flyer is very strong in this format. At least it seems to me. In the past few days, there aren't as many flyers. In the previous format involved, there were all these large flyers, right? All these vampires. And they could really get you suddenly, like you faced a 4/4 or a 3/4 flyer suddenly. Wow, my opponent is throwing away very good vehicles. Mobilizer mech is super. Yeah, it can be very funny with Parhelion. Some people are talking about that on Reddit, right? That's the 8 mana vehicle from War of the Sparks, and wow, my opponent is really all in on blue. I don't know how this is going to play out. Okay, so it gets -3, -0, and loses flying. I see. How? How? No, the. Oh well. We'll see what we can do. We might just sacrifice it to Reconnor's Bargain if we can't do anything else. Oh, the Unspeakable! That's a good card again. It's a very, very good card. It's just good. What should we do? I mean, if we do Born to Drive, it gets quite a few. Hmm. Well, okay. Oh, wow. And right. Yeah, but it's not a flyer at the moment. This is quite funny. Wow. Mono blue. They're really all in on the wheel spinning. But I mean, what are they really trying to do here? That's my. But they're going to get a big flying trampler. Okay. Technician. I can't block that. Whenever card happens to this combat damage, the player you may command a card with mana value less than or equal to that damage. Oh, and they're gonna put that back on board for free, basically. That was actually nice. Yeah, good for them. And they still have 4 mana because they can tap this as an artifact. I think I just need to really get rid of the Subduer because it can't do much at the moment. And I do need the cards rather badly. And they have a counter spell, so that's if they do. But I haven't lost yet, of course, but they have an enormous advantage at this point. They've seen 5 more cards. They have 4 cards in hand. They basically have access to 6 mana. They're really sitting on it, though. Yeah, my opponent is one of those people who thinks that every game they play is in the finals of some big tournament. They have to be very careful about every step they make. Yeah, there are people who are like that, you know. Nothing horrible, but obviously a little bit annoying. Um, like there's nothing in this situation. It was obvious that they had a counter spell and they're going to play it. So. And it didn't matter how they're tapping their mana either. So, yeah. Right, that's a 4/4 flyer. How annoying. How very, very annoying. Okay, so I talked trash about blue based on the previous games, and now I'm getting beaten by mono blue of all things. That's pretty sad. I'm getting a good spanking from Mr. Mono Blue. Mr. Super Slow Mono Blue. Yeah, one can only wonder. I mean, how many 2 mana cards do they have in their hands? And why was it important to think about this for so long? God knows. Um, okay, so it's got Ward 2, so we can't get rid of it yet. Um, yeah. But we can get rid of the Technician, but Technician just doesn't really seem to be important enough to get to kill that way. But then again, putting cards, but they don't want to put too many cards on board either. Hmm. How annoying. I'm really just not sure what to do here. Is it good value to just kill the technician? Maybe it is. Yeah, we don't want our opponent to have too many options. Huh. This is becoming a somewhat embarrassing game almost. One, they can get rid of all the lands, right? They did draw 8 lands, exactly half of their lands from half of their deck. Uh, hmm. How should we deal with this? Because if they equip this one as well, if they reconfigure again and they get Ward 4, we won't be able to ever touch that Vision of the Unspeakable. So look at this Ward 4. Well, it's good that I didn't wait at least. And they can get in for 7 if they want to. It's gonna be hard to raise that. So this is tricky, right? Because we can block it, and then we can cast the. I can attack with Norika and recast Twisted Embrace. But the problem is that because it has Ward 4, there's nothing I can do with. Uh-huh. There's some warrior you control, so excellent. Oh well. Well, anyway, we go in with Norika, and yeah, we're going to cast this and make it into a 5/7. And yeah, we have the lethal exploit, but what can the lethal exploit do at the moment? Not much. We're not threatening lethal or anything, so very far from that. The original of the Unspeakable is just too big. I can't block it profitably. Oh gosh, how annoying. Chat, what do you think? Are we going to lose to Mono Blue? My hunch is that we are. My hunch is that we're going to lose this. Ah, gosh. Yeah. And our opponent has a lot of time, whereas I don't have a lot of time. Huh, this is going to bounce my moth. Okay. And then attack for lethal. Almost right. Yeah. I think we're going to die here. Because even if I draw a land, I don't think I have enough to. Right, I can recast Twisted Embrace. Or Born to Drive, but neither of them does me any good. I mean, Twisted Embrace can snipe the glider, but that's all it does. Because of the double award, I won't be able to do anything else to the vision. Yeah. Alright, that's life. Nothing I can do here, right? Nope. Really nothing I can do here. Um, I could do that, we could do that, whichever. But it doesn't really matter actually. Yeah, doesn't really matter. And yeah, we can target that, but we won't be able to pay the ward cost. And we are done. We're not going to wait for our opponent because he's a very, very, very deliberate person who likes to consider everything very carefully. Ensure that even though we're tapped out and we don't have any with one card in hand, they would probably consider all the possibilities and take it easy, take it slow. But we did hit a bit of a road bump here with this Gruul deck and the mono blue deck. Wow, interesting. I haven't seen either good Gruul deck. I was thinking about building one, but of course it's not that easy, right? Usually I see many good green cards, but red I don't. Red is more contested. It seems to me. People want to try the aggression and the cheap red reconfigure artifacts. Um, hmm. This doesn't look like a bad start if we get to a third land at some point. The Ace and the Hoover Bike can do a lot of work. Another blue deck. Yeah, people are trying to. Wow, this is annoying. People are really trying to maximize these. What should we try here? Maybe we are gonna try the Infiltrator. The Infiltrator can actually block the Puzzle Maker as well. I think Puzzle Maker looks really funny. Research is hardly the dry, serious pastime outsiders make it out to be. Research, I mean, I'm a researcher and a teacher. Research is definitely not dry and definitely not as serious as people sometimes make it out to be. But is it? Yeah, I mean, that's more or less true. It can be very boring though, even though it's not dry and serious. Um, right, we're just gonna attack. We have to try and raise our bunt playing opponent. How interesting! Playing bunt and getting all your mana perfectly, right? Beautiful. Very lucky opponent. We're going to try and passivize this puzzle maker so it doesn't hit us for 4 again. Favor of Jukai. Who would have told, right? The puzzle maker is going to become a 4/7. This is an interesting conception, right? Like having one large flyer, and then if you can defend that somehow with ward or counter spells, you're pretty golden. I think that's not a bad take actually on the format. Because as I said, flyers are great, and there are many cards which encourage this. Oh, well, that's interesting. Many cards which encourage the approach. So we can bring the Dragonfly suit, we can Born to Drive something and try and beat down. I mean, Born to Drive would make this a 4/5. We can try Subdure or Gravelighter and force a sack. Gravelighter would be much more powerful if I could cast it after Twisted Embrace, though. You know what? Probably what I'm gonna do here is going to go in with these two. Yeah, whichever. Hmm. Should I just bring the suit and try and hit even harder next turn. Like I can bring this up here and go in for 6 in the air. Yeah, if I can keep them on one creature, that might be quite nice, because they can't keep anything back to block, right? I think I'll get rid of the Hoover Bike, because the Hoover Bike, I need something to activate, so if I lose creatures, that's the worst one. Alright, I don't mind this, because Geothermal Kami is not a flyer at least, so I can block it on the ground if it keeps coming in. Wow, wow, wow. Master's Rebuke, why not? Of course. Yeah, we'll have to let that come in, sadly. They didn't even cast Jukai, so they must have something here, right? They must have something, yep. Yeah, they do. They do. I think I'll just bring the Blade Blesser and try to block. +3, +3. I don't know. They definitely have something with Flash, or they have a big spell. Yeah. I mean, they gave it away ages ago. You would never not cast your big enchantment, can. Really? Use the Mirror Shadow? But they were almost at 7 mana anyway. Why? Oh, that was strange to me. I sort of want them to cast I sort of want them to cast Favor of Jukai, and then I want to draw another mana and kill the pumped creature with the Twisted Embrace. Oh no! I haven't seen anyone play this spell before. I considered playing it. That's why they were okay with getting rid of the crab. They had so much value coming up, right? Ah, wow, 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 wow. That was interesting. Now, obviously, we are gonna try and survive this somehow. But it's not gonna be easy, that's for sure. Now, the Kami has to die. But one of those samurai is gonna get +3, +3. Ah, gosh. What am I gonna do with that? Really? Oh, they have another combat trick. There's so many dirty combat tricks. Oh my god. Huh? Oh, the white ninja. And they can be. Wow. I enjoyed it. I'll be honest with you. I did lose. It's sad we went 5-3 after a very strong start. But the combos my opponent played in this deck, this Bunt aggro deck, or tempo, maybe this was Bunt tempo. This was pretty fun to see, and I think it was quite creative and entertaining. Yep, I definitely wouldn't complain about losing to this. This was not a bad game at all. Invoke Calamity, right? Uh-huh. Grease Fang. I already have 2 or 3 Grease Fangs. Seems like that's one of the lower. It's easier to get. Eiganjo. Oh, good, good, good. Eiganjo, I can imagine 1 or 2 Eiganjo being useful in several decks, especially if you're a slower deck. And that's going to draw. I also have a couple of light bows, interestingly. I'm not really going to try that. I don't like the aura decks. They're very Anyway, what I was thinking about for historic, what could be fun to play in historic? Is there anything that would be fun to brew around? Hard to see at this point, to be honest. Let's have a quick look at the rares and the mythic rares. Lion's Edge is a nice utility card, but Lion's Edge is funny in a sense because it's not something you brew around. It's more like, yeah, it's a good card, and if you have an aggressive white deck, you might want to have it in your sideboard against graveyard strategies like Phoenix, and then yeah, your Lion's Edge can grow big on their creatures, or aggro mirrors, and then you can eat their creatures. They can't get any value out of their graveyard. Farewell blew me out yesterday one time. That was quite funny. They exiled all creatures very unexpectedly. It's not something you're prepared for in a draft game, and it can be a good sideboard card, I guess. If you're afraid that you're gonna play something exotic, like an enchantment deck or an artifact deck, but you're confident that you can stay alive until turn 6, and you're gonna curve out relatively well, then it's a good card. Restoration should be really fun if you can somehow, like, maybe you can get a bunch of cards into your graveyard and then Mythic's Master this. Yeah, that's, I guess, pretty fun, and I wouldn't spend rare wild cards on it at the moment, but if I would have like 40 rare wild cards, I wouldn't mind trying it out as something. What a callback to Chihiro, right? Spirited Away, the Ghibli movie. This Totoro-looking creature helping to carry the local shrine, and yeah. Yeah, this is just a very, very good card. I would definitely use this in my control decks as a one-off. It can deal with many kinds of things for very, very, very cheaply. It's just a good card. Yeah, the Wandering Emperor, I want to try this out in some shells. Thousand Face Shadows. Could be good in rogues, but I'm just not very attracted to rogues usually. Deseret, I'm sure that could be a fun card. I like Reanimator, switching Dexia, so I'll try it out at some point. The Mukodai Soul Ripper has been very, very good in draft, and I don't know, I could imagine that it can do something in Standard or Alchemy, in the aggressive, in the black decks with a lot of little creatures. Is it good enough for Historic? I don't think so. I don't think so. Horobi could be good enough, if you have plenty of stuff to sack. Nashi and Tatsunari, they're not good enough for Historic. At 3 mana, you need your creatures to have better stats or do more. Yeah, it's just, they don't cut it. Goro Goro, no. Yeah, I'm thinking about Historic here primarily. So, yeah. Historic's power level is just so high, it's not easy to get there, really. What else do we have? Kaito. Now, Kaito is something I would want to try out. Maybe a blue-black tempo can be fun if you have Kaito as well. You can flash in Kaito, he draws you a card, or he creates a ninja straight away. Yeah. Yeah, he could be good. I've heard people saying that this is a very good sideboard card against the cat oven decks. Golgari food. I mean, it hits the ovens, it hits the cat, it hits all the food tokens, it hits treasure tokens, it hits the geese. it hits the squirrels, and then it exiles everything in the next turn. The problem might be that by that time, if they have their engine set up with Trail of Crumbs and Meat Tooth Massacre, you're just going to be dead anyway. Or they're going to rebuild. They're going to sack the cat a couple of times and draw a couple of cards and just rebuild. I'm not sure that a 3 mana. A 3 mana enchantment is going to turn that matchup around for anyone. Hinata is very cute, but I don't know where you would want a 4/4 flyer for 4. It just doesn't match up against anything very well. It can block the RC, but I don't know. If that's your plan, yeah, it just gets taken out so easily by Unholy Fire, right? And it doesn't do anything. Like if they have DRC and 3 Phoenixes are coming back. Yeah. Bankbuster is nice. Bankbuster is very funny. If you have a way to crew it consistently and to make use of the card draw, like you're some kind of aggro deck that needs a bit of card draw, like you're more like maybe a mid-range, an aggressive mid-range deck, this card can do an okay job. Yeah, it's like a Maze Mind Tome designed for aggressive mid-range decks. Yeah, well, not much for Historic, I think, at the Rare and Mythic Rare section. Funnily enough, maybe Discover the Impossible. I could see maybe some kind of combo decks wanting that. And the same with Anchor to Reality and Reality Haste. I mean that's just very very good, right? If you get off on a strong start and you cut down 3 or 4 artifacts, which is not impossible at all with a good starting hand, this will keep you going. And with a Paradox Engine or an Emery, you can get a lot of value very quickly. The problem is that in Historic, by turn 4, you need to have the decisive advantage. Sheaf. I don't know about the Sheaf. Looks good. 1/2 for 1 mana, and then you can sack things. But it does it for 2 mana, right? I mean, there are many things that you can use to sack for cheaper. Yeah. Rabbit Battery is good. Yeah, I've seen it a couple of times in aggro decks. I could imagine these 2 cards making maybe the cut. The good thing about Rabbit Battery is that it's very cheap to equip, and it makes your 1/1s, 1/2s, 2/1s a little bit more resilient. They can survive maybe in a fight against your opponent's turn 1, turn 2 creatures. So for creature matchups, this might be good. And then even if your creature dies, you trade it off or you remove it with a spell, you still get the Rabbit Battery back. So, right, after a board wipe or something, you can still rely on something. Kumano faces Kakazan. Yeah, that again, like if you consistently have a turn 2 play, maybe a hasty creature, and that gets the token, the extra damage does matter a lot, and then the Etching of Kumano also has haste, so it can help you push through a lot of damage very quickly. Generous Visitor is such a cute card. It's one of the most adorable things I've seen in Magic recently. It's original, right? Like, it's not. I love dogs. I have 4 dogs at home. My family's home, and I absolutely love them. But it's not original if you keep just printing dogs for cuteness. At some point, the excitement wanes off. Now, Honeycult Anvil is an interesting one. That might be good in historic, but again, it's 2 mana, and we had the Modern Horizon cards. Yeah, Gloom Shrieker. It looks like a beautiful mid-range card for Standard and Alchemy. For Historic, this is not. It won't cut it. It just doesn't do enough. If it would be 2 mana, it would be a star in Historic, but it's not. So, yep, the ceiling is high. The ceiling is very high in Historic, and yeah, you need cards where the floor is high and the ceiling is high. You need very good cards, basically. Um, what else? Anything that I would want to try out in Historic? The Network Disruptor is a funny one. If you can make good, and Moonsnare Prototype as well, if you can make good use of winning a little time or getting in or something, somehow tapping something, um, and you need an artifact creature, this can do a good job. The Modern Age, it's definitely very, very good in draft. I don't know how good that would be in constructed. The sphere, if you can bring it back consistently, might add up to something. Yeah, yeah. Um, hmm. Anything else that could be good? Well, Depth to the Kami is a nice way to exile enchantments for mono black or black red, black blue. Might be an okay sideboard card. I saw Croaky's trying out Experimental Synthesizer, and I think that's an interesting, something you might want to experiment with. A 3 mana for the 2/2s. It is card advantage though, that's true. And if you can make use of the artifact in some way, if it matters for something that is an artifact, it's extra good. But I don't know, Simeon Sling seems to be more straightforward and cheaper. Although the reconfigure cost is 2 on it. Yeah. Explosive Entry is very interesting as well. But it's sorcery speed, that's not good enough. Then a braid's versatility is just much better. Oh, difficult to find anything that really makes the cut. Tamio safekeeping. Hmm. So there are many decks that like Snakeskin Whale. Not many, but there are a couple of aggressive decks that have green and like a couple of Snakeskin Whales, and they don't want to go up to 2 mana for Heroic Intervention. If you're building one big creature, you have one or two key creatures that can say keep refueling you by drawing you cards, then this might work. Master's Rebuke is decent, but we have similar cards. Although that it's an instant and it's just one green, I don't know. I think we have something similar fight spells. Yeah, it's a pretty high power set. I think a lot of things can make the cut in standard and alchemy, but maybe not in historic. Well, anyway, that's it from me for today. Thank you so much for watching. It's been lovely to have you around, and have a lovely day. And I'll see you hopefully soon. Maybe I'll be here again tomorrow around the same time, and probably do another draft of Kamigawa. Now I have to be off and teach English. and then philosophy. So have a lovely day. Take care.